This podcast is a member of the King of Wrestling Radio. Go to kowradio.weebly.com for more.
That's the one thing about our audience. They always want a new guy to break through the glass ceiling.
And all you have to do is just be real.
Allow me to reintroduce myself. I am the jabroni beating, pie eating, trailblazing, eyebrow raising, talking is done, you're out of your class, no sleep till Brooklyn, The Rock whoops your ass. Woo!
I wish you and King would quit talking.
Here is the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes. And Dusty, your fans welcome you back, man.
First of all, I would like to thank the many fans throughout this country that wrote cards and letters to Dusty Rhodes, the American Dream, while I was down. Secondly, I want to thank Jim Crockett Promotions for waiting and taking the time, because I know how important it was. Starcade 85 it is to the wrestling fans, it is to Jim Crockett Promotions. And Dusty Rhodes, the American Dream, with that weight, got what I wanted. Ric Flair, the world's heavyweight champion. I don't have to say a lot more about the way I feel about Ric Flair. No respect, no honor. There is no honor among thieves in the first place. He put hard times on Dusty Rhodes and his family. You don't know what hard times are, Daddy. Hard times are when the textile workers around this country are out of work and got 4 or 5 kids and can't pay their wages, can't buy their food. Hard times are when the auto workers are out of work and they tell them go home. And hard times are when a man has worked at a job 30 years. 30 years. They give him a watch, kick him in the butt, and say, hey, a computer took your place, Daddy. That's hard time. That's hard time.
Welcome to Around the Ring, episode 21 for today, June 15th, 2015. I'm your host, Dave Brown. I've been gone for a couple of weeks due to a vacation and me just not being able to keep up with the world of pro wrestling, but we are back, and we also have an announcement. Around the Ring is proud to join the Kings of Wrestling Radio Network, kowradio.weebly.com. It's some great folks. This is a continued evolution from the Shoot Wrestling Network and the United Podcast Network, and very proud to join these fine folks and the great shows that are on there. If you are a wrestling podcast and you would like to join, head over to kowradio.weebly.com and click on apply, read the rules, and see if you can join. You can also follow them on the Twitter at KOW Radio, and they also have a Facebook page. Just do a search for KOW Radio. It should be some great stuff. Our episodes will air Tuesday evenings at what time is it? It's like it's 8 o'clock Pacific, which is about 10 o'clock Central where I live, so 11 p.m. for you folks on the East Coast. And if you live in Mountain Time Zone, the Colorado area, that sucker's going to be going up around 9. So you can listen to us there. Right now you can also hear the Hailmaker Wrestling Podcast and the Shoot Wrestling Podcast, both on KOW Radio, so check that out. So a few things going on this week. Last night we had the Money in the Bank pay-per-view, and the big news though this last week was the passing of the American Dream Dusty Rhodes. And of course I played a bit of the promo, his probably most famous promo he's ever done, the Hard Times promo. And I remember my real first exposure to the American Dream was through Jim Crockett Promotions, the NWA on TBS, and I remember, oh God, I loved that. As a kid watching wrestling, I first got into wrestling thanks to WWE. I saw WrestleMania 2. I saw a recording of that and loved the hell out of it. I had a VHS copy, and I wore that sumbitch out, watching it over and over and over. And WrestleMania 2 is not even one of the better WrestleManias, but there were some good matches on there. And so when I started getting into wrestling, I started looking for it wherever I could find it on TV, and one of the predominant places you could find it, especially if you were living anywhere in the South, was on Superstation TBS, or WTBS as it was called at the time. And with Jim Crockett Promotions, they had the wrestling on Saturday nights. They had it on Saturday mornings. They had a few other times. They had a show called World Championship Wrestling, which was eventually when Ted Turner bought Jim Crockett Promotions. He turned the name of the show into the name of the promotion. But at the time, it was the part of the NWA, and the territories were still going on. And this was the heyday of the Four Horsemen. You know, we had the original Horsemen with Ric Flair, Ole Anderson, Arn Anderson, and Tully Blanchard, and J.J. Dillon. You had the emergence of guys like Lex Luger, the emergence of guys like Sting. You had Magnum TA before he had to retire early. And I watched a hell of a lot of that. And a big part of that era was the American Dream Dusty Rhodes. And getting to see him perform was a riot. Now, I missed, by the time I really started watching, I missed a lot of his feud with Ric Flair, unfortunately. I've gone back and watched it, which is where that promo comes from, and that feud was incredible. Those two guys, just unreal. And if you're gonna make a list of the greatest talkers in pro wrestling history, I mean, Dusty Rhodes has to be up in the top, if not, he's top 3. Because if I was going to make my greatest talkers in professional wrestling history list, like a Mount Rushmore of the greatest talkers, I think you would have to include, obviously, Ric Flair, The Rock, Roddy Piper, and Dusty Rhodes. No one had charisma like Dusty Rhodes. I mean, The Rock in a modern instance has, I think, almost that level of charisma, and as great of a talker as Flair is, Flair never had the charisma that Dusty had. And considering Dusty Rhodes is a relatively not good-looking, big, fat-ass man, and I can say this because I'm a fatty, and he got out there and he wowed people with his mouth, with what he could do in the ring, and not only was he a good talker, he was a great performer. And he, after that feud with Flair, he went on, he had some really good matches with guys like Lex Luger. He had a run in WWE where WWE basically just tried to embarrass the hell out of him by making him wear polka dots and do all stupid shit. And that's a couple of things with that. I think that is Vince McMahon and the WWE just being a bunch of vindictive little bitches. And the other part of it is the WWE having this insistence to always put gimmicks on people. I mean, think Ted DiBiase came in. He was no longer just Ted DiBiase. He was the $1 Million Man. And we're talking by the time things started happening in the late 80s, early 90s. Mike Rotunda comes back. So even though he's wrestled in WWE as Mike Rotunda before, he can no longer be Mike Rotunda. He has to be IRS, Erwin R. Shyster. Kerry Von Erich came in. He was the Texas Tornado, even though they did end up referring to him as Kerry Von Erich. So you have the WWE has a long history of taking established guys from other territories, other federations, bringing them in and changing their gimmicks, changing their names, doing something stupid with them. The Red Rooster, for Pete's sake, poor Terry Taylor. And the Dream was one of them. I mean, they obviously didn't try to change his name or anything like that, but they tried to dumb him down. And I think another part of that is there's a big kind of snobbery in the WWE. They're very anti-South. They don't, and I don't know what the deal is there, if they just don't like the South, if they're just, East Coast snobs or what, but they've never been huge fans of the South. They'll travel to the South and take the South's money, that's for sure. But they think of themselves, I suspect, as a more refined group of sports entertainers up in the Northeast. And they tried to do that to Dusty Rhodes, and it didn't work. Dusty still got over because Dusty is that freaking good. Unfortunately, he never got really a run with a title in WWE, which is a shame and a crime. But, he did have 3 runs as the NWA World Heavyweight Champion. He was a United States champion. He was, if I'm not mistaken, a TV champion. So he held his share of titles and was hugely important to the NWA, specifically to Crockett Promotions, the growth of that company, and subsequently the fall. He was there until the end. He did come over and became a huge part of the backstage life in WWE, and when the Performance Center was open, he went down to Orlando and became a huge part of NXT. He referred to the folks down in NXT as his NXT kids, and he did a lot with them and worked with them on their microphone skills and their promos. And it just goes to show both Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens wrote some really just moving blog posts about the Dream, and you can find those online. They're wonderful and they're worth reading. So the American Dream Dusty Rhodes, he was hugely important from everything I've ever seen. He was a good person, and he's going to be greatly missed. So Rustwell Dream, thank you for all the memories and the years of entertainment and everything you've given us, and hope you find some good rest and peace up in wherever it is that you are. Last night was the Money in the Bank pay-per-view. This last week, I still kind of had a hard time catching up with things. I went to watch Lucha Underground, and for some reason the stream I was trying to watch, it kept crapping out, so I didn't get to see this week's episode of Lucha Underground or Ring of Honor, but I did watch the pay-per-view last night, and I did watch NXT this week. We'll talk about Money in the Bank first, since it's fresh on folks' minds. So we had the Money in the Bank pay-per-view. Overall, it wasn't a terrible show. It wasn't a great show either. The highlight was obviously the Kevin Owens-John Cena match, which was outstanding. There were a few moments in there where it was a little sloppy, but you don't see my fat ass in there doing this stuff, so I'm not criticizing by any stretch of the means. There were just a couple of moments where I think the two, I don't know if their communication was off or what, but overall was an excellent match. And let's just go down the card. I did not see the R-Truth King Barrett match, but apparently Truth won. The Money in the Bank ladder match, which opened the show, which I thought was really odd. I was like, why are they opening the show with this? This is normally such a huge highlight of these shows. And then after it was over, I realized, because probably people are going to be pissed at the result, and they want plenty of time for the rest of the show to recover, so the folks don't take a huge shit on the main event, because the ladder match, the Money in the Bank match, was so mediocre. In the match, we had Sheamus, Neville, Roman Reigns, Randy Orton, Kofi Kingston, Kane, and Dolph Ziggler. So right there, just on paper, this match, with the exception really of Sheamus, and Sheamus can wrestle. And I'll get to him in a minute. But on paper, this should have been great. And it had some really cool moments. Neville really never did one of those holy shit moments that I thought he was going to. Roman Reigns did a great jump out of the ring onto damn near everyone. The New Day came out to try to help Kofi Kingston. But really, there were a few times that Neville was really close to grabbing the briefcase, and the crowd. Now, and I was watching this on my television, so sometimes it's hard for me to really judge what the crowd sounds like on my TV versus if I'm watching on my computer, because, TV versus headphones and all. But the crowd was really behind Neville. Also, interestingly, in this match, I thought Roman Reigns was, in a lot of ways, acting like a heel. And I think maybe it's starting to tease that potential heel turn. But the big things in this match were that one moment, Reigns pretty much had everyone down. This was toward the end of the match, climbing the ladder, and Bray Wyatt's music hits. Lights go out. They come back on, and Wyatt knocks him off of the ladder, hits him with Sister Abigail, and Reigns is out for the rest of the match. Now, this actually I was very excited about. I'm a big Bray Wyatt fan. I think he is fantastic, and he hasn't been used much. And in fact, I posted on our Facebook page and our Twitter page, which, by the way, if you're not following us, head over to Twitter at AroundTheRingOK or Facebook.com/AroundTheRingOK. Click a like, click a follow. Do that. That would be awesome. But there was an article posted somewhere this week, for the life of me, I can't remember where, talking about how Bray Wyatt is just being completely misused, and it was so right. Bray Wyatt is money. This guy is going to be such money someday, and he's a great talker. He's a great worker, and the fact that they have nothing for him to do, or they did, is a crime. And one of the things that people have talked about with the ascent of Roman Reigns, and I've seen mentioned in many articles, is at some point he's going to have a program with Bray Wyatt. These two guys need to go at it, because it's going to elevate the both of them. And so I loved this. This was probably the best part, the best outcome of the ladder match was this setting up this Roman Reigns Bray Wyatt feud. This should be really, really good. I'm looking forward to it. They're going to have a match at Battleground, so yeah, I'm excited. That's going to be fun. My brain just stopped working. Oh, so then through kind of the rest of the match, there was more back and forth, and it came down to Sheamus and Neville on the ladder. And there were a few times I thought, holy crap, they're going to give this to Neville. They're going to pull the trigger on Neville, and this is going to be fantastic. And the crowd was into Neville. They really were. But Sheamus then took a cheap shot, grabbed Neville's eye, raked his hair, pulled him off the ladder, and retrieved the Money in the Bank briefcase, to which the entire place went, really? I mean, okay, so the pluses of this, I don't think anyone saw this coming. The negatives are, we have Sheamus as the Money in the Bank winner, contract holder, which probably means we will get a Sheamus World Heavyweight title run at some point in the next year, which honestly makes me want to gag. Now, it would be, on the one hand, it would be kind of nice to see someone different in the main event picture. I would much prefer for it to have been Neville, but really the main event picture has been Roman Reigns, Randy Orton, Kane, Big Show, Seth Rollins, Dean Ambrose, and when he's around, Brock Lesnar. So this now puts Sheamus, and John Cena before Brock Lesnar beat the holy piss out of him. But this now puts Sheamus back into the main event picture, which, if nothing else, he's a new body in there. Because right now it's getting real tiring seeing the same, half dozen handful of guys doing the same crap over and over and over. So that's a plus. And we could have some potential cool feuds. Now, do I see Sheamus going after Seth Rollins? No. Unless Seth Rollins finally has his falling out with Triple H, leaves the Authority, turns babyface, and then Sheamus comes out and destroys him. So I don't know. I don't know where they're going with this. It was surprising. Everyone expected, I think, that Roman Reigns was going to walk out of there. And I really wanted Neville to win it. I would have loved for Dolph Ziggler to win it, but I didn't expect him to. He was there to be a great worker, great provide great spots. And you put Dolph Ziggler, he's one of those guys, you put Dolph Ziggler in a ring with somebody, and you're going to have a good match because Ziggler is that good. So where they're going with Sheamus, I don't know. But, I just deflated. I was like, oh, God, really? We'll have to see. Next up, we had Nikki Bella defending the Divas title against Paige. This match actually went pretty long. It was, at least according to the Wikipedia entry for Money in the Bank 2015, which I'm using to make sure I remember all the card. It was an 11-minute match, which for a Divas match is pretty dang long. It had some good moments. I'm going to give credit where credit is due. Nikki Bella has become pretty not terrible. She's actually fairly decent, and she had a good match here with Paige. The main roster really kind of has held Paige back. Paige did a promo or an interview with Renee Young before the match saying that, she's sick of the Bellas running everything, and after she had made her speech the other night, none of the Divas have come up to her to say, the Bellas are running this, we got to stop it. So, so that, and part of that, JBL in the commentary mentioned that, hey, Paige, you have basically crapped on the entire Divas locker room. Why do you expect them to join your crusade? And he made a good point. Pretty decent match. Then until there was a fuck finish. We had Twin Magic go on, where Bree came in, rolled up Paige, which Paige reversed, got the pin, and was celebrating. And then Bree was like, "No, I'm not Nikki. I'm not Nikki," showing her little hip tattoos and pulling out stuff out of her top that she was using to make her boobs look bigger. And for some inexplicable reason, the ref did not call for a disqualification. I don't know why. In fact, the announcers were like, "Why is this not disqualification?" Well, so after these shenanigans, Nikki gets in the ring, takes out Paige with that wicked elbow move that she uses, hits the rack attack, and that forearm elbow thing. And that, to give that girl credit, that thing looks badass. Hit the rack attack, got the win. So, I've heard rumors that the plan is WWE wants Nikki Bella to break AJ Lee's record for holding the Divas Championship. Why? Because they're a spiteful, vindictive little bunch of bitches. That's why. But they're gonna keep this belt on Nikki Bella for another probably 90 days, because AJ I think held it for 280 something. Nikki's held it for over 200. So we got a good more 3 months to go with Nikki Bella as the Divas champion. At points I was kind of hoping that Charlotte would come out, or something. Maybe even Emma, if Emma and Paige were still friends. But now Paige is, babyface, and Emma's a heel down in NXT, so I'm not sure how much that would work. Or maybe even someone like Becky Lynch coming out. I could have seen it would have been a moment to bring out a Becky Lynch or a Charlotte. Charlotte's the one that should have come out. But the Divas division really, at this point in the main roster, is pretty bad. You've got Paige, who is really good. You've got Nikki Bella, who doesn't suck anymore. Natalya should be really good, but it's not. And everyone else pretty much blows chunks. We'll see how Eva Marie is after all of her training when she re-debuts. Hopefully she won't suck anymore. But it's the Divas division is in sad shape. And I guess we'll see. Up next we had the Big Show against Ryback in an Intercontinental Championship match with The Miz on commentary. The Miz at least has changed his outfit that he comes down to the ring with. He still looks stupid. But what's interesting about this is a heel going after a heel and a babyface. Short match. It was only about 5 minutes. Big Show won by disqualification. Wasn't very good. And unlike a lot of people, I like Ryback. I think he can actually wrestle pretty well. And he's freakishly strong. But this sucked. So it's setting up for more in the future. I'm sure at some point we're going to get a triple threat match. Miz against Big Show against Ryback. But the championship stayed on Ryback, which is what it needed to do. Next up, we had the match of the night. I think the match that most people were looking forward to. John Cena against Kevin Owens. This was a nearly 20-minute long match. And it was really, really good. They both pulled out all the stops. We had another kind of tease of the package pile driver, and it ended with John Cena getting the win, which I hated. But in the whole match, Kevin Owens looked fantastic, and in the end, John Cena, waited for Owens to recover as he was getting up, and said, "You belong here." Stuck out his hand, shook Kevin Owens' hand, raised his hand, at which Kevin Owens attacked him and gave him a power bomb on the ring apron. That was pretty sweet. So even though Kevin Owens lost, which is typical of WWE booking, most feuds you have someone win, the other guy wins, and then you have a rubber match in the pay-per-view. So I'm guessing at either that Battleground we will have Owens Cena 3, and this time it will probably be, I'm guessing, for the United States Championship. So they can have a champion versus champion. So I think one of two things will happen. Either Owens is going to win the U.S. title, or and then have to release the NXT Championship, or Owens is going to lose that championship in Japan when NXT heads over there to lose it to Finn Balor, which is probably the better way to go. But then he could still go after John Cena for the U.S. title. Overall, very good match, great psychology, great storytelling. Kevin Owens really made John Cena look good. I mean, John Cena is still, you compare the two, watching them wrestle, and Kevin Owens is by far the superior wrestler. But it was a fantastic match. I really enjoyed it. Two left. Next match was the Primetime Players, Darren Young and Titus O'Neil, against the New Day, Big E and Xavier Woods, for the WWE Tag Team Championship match. This was actually a pretty short match. It wasn't as good as it should have been. I think Darren Young and Titus O'Neil are still trying to get their bearing. And Titus is this monster, but sometimes he's kind of awkward. But they caught the win. Titus and Darren Young, new WWE Tag Team Champions. Good for them. And but the real great thing is New Day is so over as heels. It is so funny. Just 3-4, prior to WrestleMania, these guys were just crap on a stick. No one gave two poops about them. The night after WrestleMania, that crowd starts chanting "New Day sucks," and it all changed. It all changed. And we eventually got the New Day becoming the tag team champions. We're still in the middle of a good feud with Cesaro and Tyson Kidd before Tyson Kidd got injured. And so enter the Primetime Players. It was a fun match for what it was. I mean, actually I say that. It really wasn't that good. Moral of the story is Primetime Players, new tag team champions. And then we came to the main event, which was 35 minutes long. Oh yeah. Seth Rollins against Dean Ambrose for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship in a ladder match. It was really, really good. It was a lot of fun and some crazy moments. And really I'm not going to go blow by blow because I can't remember it all. It was one that I just watched and enjoyed it. the thing is, I really hoped that Ambrose was going to pull it out, even though I knew he wouldn't. But it was a fun match. I was thinking, they could have done something really cool, and this was a missed opportunity. Brock Lesnar is scheduled to be at Raw tonight, so why not have Brock Lesnar there, have Rollins about to grab the belt, Brock's music hits, comes down, he destroys Rollins, Ambrose gets the title. You could even have Sheamus then cash in, as much as that would have made me vomit, win the title, and he would be now the new poster boy for the Authority, or just this heel guy that they approve of, and this could start the real falling out between Triple H and Seth Rollins, because Triple H could be yelling at him, how could you do this, and Rollins could say, well, you weren't there to help, I could take on Ambrose by myself, but you throw in Brock Lesnar, what the hell? That would have just been great. I think the crowd would have gone apeshit had that happened. But it didn't. We still got a hell of a match, and afterwards, it's the promos on .com, Ambrose gave a pretty good cut a good promo. Ambrose is a great talker. Dean Ambrose is just fantastic. Let's really, all three of the guys from the Shield are really good. Ambrose, I think, is Ambrose and Rollins are kind of tied for the best. Ambrose is a much better talker than Rollins. Rollins is a little bit better, I think, in the ring with some of the flashiness that he has. But both of them complete total packages. And I do think at some point we are going to get a Dean Ambrose WWE World Heavyweight Championship run. He deserves it. He needs to be in the main event. Who knows what this means for him going forward, if this feud is going to continue or what. He did say, I'm going to go fix my leg and I will be back. So I don't know if there's something really is messed up with his leg. Seth Rollins targeted his left leg throughout the match. Did some pretty wicked chair shots to it, and used the ladder on a number of times, and even did the old did the old Bret Hart figure four on the ring post. That was pretty cool to see. So the only other thing really with Money in the Bank is they did a really good tribute to Dusty Rhodes. When they first came out, everyone was standing there. They rang the bell 10 times. They played his entrance music. But later there was a promo pack that they put together that was just really, really good. Really moving. And it was really well done. So that was Money in the Bank. Overall, kind of a crap show. I mean, it's still well, here's the gist of it is, I enjoyed myself for 3 hours watching it. I had a good time laying on my couch watching this. I didn't get tired. I didn't want to fall asleep. I didn't want to fast forward through anything, unlike last week's Raw, which I pretty much fast forwarded through most of. I enjoyed it. So we'll see what happens tonight on Raw. Oh, Jesus, what was I going to say? Brock Lesnar's coming back. We'll see what happens. Maybe we're going to start setting up things for SummerSlam. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. And like I mentioned earlier in the show, I didn't get to see Ring of Honor this week or Lucha Underground, but I did see a little video package Ring of Honor put together to promote the Jay Briscoe, Jay Lethal championship match at their Best of the World pay-per-view, which is on is it the 19th? Shit, that's like this Friday night, I think. Which I'm looking forward to. I probably won't get the pay-per-view. Well, I can't get the pay-per-view because I don't have cable. But I'm going to definitely watch that this week. It was a great video package, and it really made me want to see this pay-per-view, want to see this match. I like both of these guys. It should be fantastic. So, yeah, hopefully, if you have cable and if you have the money, definitely get the Ring of Honor Best in the World pay-per-view when it airs. And you know what? One moment. ROH Best in the World 2015. Let us see what our friend Google has to tell us. June 19th? Yeah, Best in the World 2015. It's June 19th on the pay-per-view. It's in New York City. Live pay-per-view from New York City. And the main event is, champion for champion, Ring of Honor World Champion Jay Briscoe against Ring of Honor World TV Champion Jay Lethal. There's going to be a no disqualification match for the Ring of Honor Tag Team Championships, The Addiction versus Red Dragon. Ring of Honor #1 contenders match for the world title, Mr. ROH Roderick Strong versus Moose versus Unbreakable Michael Elgin. Then we're going to have the Kingdom, Adam Cole, Michael Bennett, Matt Taven with Maria Kanellis against the Bullet Club, AJ Styles and the Young Bucks. Holy shit, that's going to be fantastic. And Adam Cole is back. That's okay, right there. That and the main event make this must see. Then Donovan Dijak with Truth Martini versus Mark Briscoe, and Dalton Castle with the Boys versus the Last Real Man, Silas Young. Signed to appear also are Cedric Alexander, War Machine, and Caprice Coleman. So that's a pretty stacked card. Should be a hell of a lot better than Money in the Bank was, top to bottom. Really looking forward to this. So yeah. And if you're in New York, you get to go to it, then awesome. So that should be a lot of fun. So NXT this week. I don't have the rundown of the entire card right here in front of me, but the main things to take away from NXT this week were the amount of hype that they gave to Samoa Joe's in-ring debut, which was the main event. It was him against some jobber dude, basically. It was a good match, and he won with a muscle buster. Samoa Joe's lost a lot of weight. He looks really good. I mean, he still looks chubby, but still it looks really, really good. Becky Lynch had a great match against a newcomer in the Divas division, and won with her wicked-ass armbar. Emma had a match against Blue Pants, won with the Emma Lock. That was also good. And one thing with the match with and I didn't put it on my. Oh, damn it. Sorry. I'm looking at my graphic I made for this week's episode, and there was this great picture of Kevin Owens sitting with on commentary with his arm around Byron Saxton during the Samoa Joe match. It was just hilarious. I was originally planning on putting that in my episode graphic and totally forgot to. Bummer. Oh well, not redoing that. But yeah, it was good. The best part though, and I can't believe I'm about to utter these words, the highlight of the entire show, oh, this almost hurts me, was Bull Dempsey. I shit you not. Bull Dempsey had a match with Tyler Breeze, heel versus heel. And Tyler Breeze is really, at this point, is being treated like a babyface by this crowd. And why not? He's freaking awesome. But there's this moment where, in the match, Breeze runs out of the ring, jumps out of the ring, and just starts running around in a circle. And Bull Dempsey starts chasing him, and then gets winded because, he's a fat guy. And he starts holding his chest, holding his side. And as a fat man who has run, especially in school when he had to run in PE in elementary school, you get that pain like in your lung, on the side of your kind of chest area. Oh god, that crap hurts. Well, he started doing that, and it was hilarious. He had to just stop running and stand there all gassed. And Breeze eventually threw him back into the ring, hit a beauty shot, got the win. But it was hilarious. Then, though, to make it even better, William Regal's in the back making an announcement and gets interrupted by Bull Dempsey, who's chomping away on Doritos. and says, "Hi," and it's so funny because normal bulls come off so far as this, "I'm Bull Dempsey, I'm gonna kick your ass," roar. And he comes in and he's like, "Hey, Mr. Eagle, I hear you wanted to see me." Chomp, 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 chomp. And Mr. Eagle just kind of stares at him. He's like, "You have a problem." He's like, "Oh, you talking about my match?" Chomp, chomp, chomp. "Well, I was doing training last night, and I'm really tired. I didn't sleep well. But I'll do better next time." Chomp, 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 chomp. Just continuously putting Doritos in his mouth one after another. And William Regal grabs the bag and leaves. And Bull Dempsey just kind of shrugs his shoulders and pulls out of his singlet a candy bar and starts to eat that. Shit was hilarious. And this right here, and I'm agreeing with what Solomonster said this week on his show, this will get Bull Dempsey over more than anything else. This is great. I couldn't take Bull Dempsey seriously as a badass, not dressed in that singlet with everything hanging out for all to see. I mean, God bless the man. He's obviously in better shape than I am, and he's to be at this level in wrestling means you are working out hard, you're working your ass off, but the man's still fatty. And his whole "I'm gonna kill you, mow over everybody" was completely killed when he ran into Baron Corbin. So now you do something else with the guy and making him this kind of goofy, "Oh, hey, Mr. Regal, I hear you wanted to see me." Chomp, 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 chomp. Hilarious. So I'm really looking forward, and I still can't believe I'm saying this because I have pretty much hated Bull Dempsey from the moment he showed up. I'm really looking forward to what they're going to do with him because he's funny, and I like a good, well-done comedy character. That's why I love Bo Dallas. That's why I actually enjoy R-Truth. As I will say, the best moment from last week's Raw was the moment where I think it was Raw, or maybe it was SmackDown the week before. All the Money in the Bank people, Kane's talking, and people were going to be in the Money in the Bank match, kept coming out. And then R-Truth comes out. It's like, "When I win the Money in the Bank," and Kane just looks so exasperated. Like, what the and he's like, "You're not even in the match." And R-Truth is like, "What? You're not in the match?" He's like, Oh, that's on me. I'm sorry. My bad." And leaves. Oh, hilarious. So I like the idea of Bull Dempsey kind of doing a comedy thing, as I think it will work much better for him, and I think it's going to go over much better, especially in that Full Sail University crowd. Well, hey, that's going to be pretty much it for us this week here on Around the Ring. I appreciate you listening in. Don't forget to check out all of our digs and stops on the interwebs. First up, you can hit us up at our homepage, aroundtheringok.wordpress.com. You can check us out on Facebook, facebook.com/aroundtheringok. Follow us on Twitter at aroundtheringok. And you can shoot us an email if you have any questions, comments, suggestions. Someday I would love to have a listener question section, but hey, I just appreciate my faithful 40 that do listen every week. But if you want to shoot us an email, it is aroundtheringok@gmail.com. You notice I try to use the same handle for everything. Just makes life a little bit easier. Make sure to check out the Kings of Wrestling Radio, KOW Radio, at kowradio.weebly.com. Check that out. That's some good stuff as that grows. And and don't forget to check out our good friends over at K98 Talk at k98talk.com and over at the Spark Radio Network. We appreciate everyone who listens in. Thank you again, and as Jerry Springer used to always say, take care of yourselves and each other.
You've been listening to Around the Ring on the Spark Radio Network.
All you have to do is change your point of view. And believe.
Austin 316 says I just whipped your ass. Bam! Woo!
This sucks more than anything that I've ever sucked before.
What? It's for charity.